Okay, Webster. So one of the most common questions that I often get from people is, Desmond, I'm in a multi-level marketing program. I'm in a network marketing program. I want to get started. I want to recruit more people, but I don't want to go harass my friends. I don't want to go harass my family. What can I do to make money online? What can I do to get more leads online? So I think this is a very common problem that a lot of these people have. So what's your thought on this industry in the first place before we talk about how to help these people?
I would say it depends on how or where you're located. Let's say, for example, like when you mentioned just now MLM, the crazy thing is the first thing a normal consumer will come up with is like, what do they want me to buy and who do I need to convince to join? That was the first thing that comes into mind. And in a certain way, I think you're the right person to talk to when it comes to MLM, because in certain aspects, it can make money, it can generate, it can actually make a good income. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a very strong business model. And what is, I feel the crazy part is, a lot of people in MLM, they are trained in a certain way that makes it scammy, it makes it salesy, it makes it very brutal, I would say. That creates more negative than positive.
Well, there's always going to be a few bad apples in every business that we're in, or whatever industry that you're in, right? So at the end of the day, I think multi-level marketing or network marketing, the system itself, it's, in my opinion, right, I think it's okay. I think it's a great marketing strategy. I got no problem with it. The only problems that I have would be people that are misleading other people, or people that have been misled because they don't think, right? So for example, now this is my personal belief, okay? And I think I just want to make it clear, this is my business belief as well. I don't see MLM or network marketing as a real business. I feel like it's more of a franchise. I think it's maybe less than a franchise, in fact, right? Because you see a lot of people that are getting started in multi-level marketing, they don't have the mentality of a business person. They don't know accounting, which is a very core element of a business, right? I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying a few, maybe some of them, maybe half of them, right? Just from the people that I've met, which is why I think for those people that are in network marketing, the reason why they come to me and ask, hey, can I use social media to get more leads, get more customers? It's mainly because they have no other way to go. It's because the people that are really making big bucks, in my opinion, in an MLM are the people on the top, or the people that started the MLM in the first place. Now, also bear in mind that when we're talking about MLM or network marketing, whatever you want to call it, right? Just understand that there's also different quality of multi-level marketing. There are the big brands, right? Like New Skin, like Herbalife, right? And there is also like the ones that nobody have heard of, right? Brand new that stamp out of nowhere. Now, my recommendation is, if you want to join an MLM, ask yourself what's the reason to do so, right? Very, very important. Number one, I believe that you gotta really trust on the product. But because multi-level marketing in all bases is that you gotta be passing down commissions. So that means they either have to sacrifice quality, or they have to make the product really, really expensive, just so that there is margin to be passed down. Okay, now not all MLM or not all network marketing are bad. I just want to make it very, very clear, and not all marketers and not all distributors are bad. It's just that they come in with a very wrong perception. I've met people that are in MLM that want me to help them with social media, but they have no budget at all. That shows to me that you're not a business owner, because if you can't even raise capital, if you cannot even do fundraising, you're not in business. You are in self-employment / franchising, in my opinion, because you're selling other people's product, and most of the time you cannot control the product. You cannot control the quality, you cannot control the pricing. Of course, I'm not referring to all MLMs. There are some that will allow you to do that. So one thing that we have to come in mind with this is that it's going to be expensive to promote on the internet.
Got you. I think it's quite interesting, because a lot of times MLM has been targeted towards two very interesting groups, I believe. Right, the very first one is your direct network, and the other one is for individuals that would like to start a business, but they have no experience whatsoever. They are targeted on like people that are working a 9-to-5 job. They start to realize that their salary is not enough to take care of their family from then onwards, and they wanted to find a way that they can actually generate more income to help protect the future of their family.
Yes.
Hence, they were sold to the idea that here you are, you have someone that already has the products, it's proven, it's great. All you need to do is just market it to someone else.
Right.
And that's where it goes to the second part, the network that you have.
That's the tough part.
Which is the mentality is, hey, don't you have a brother? Don't you have a sister?
Right.
Don't you have a cousin? Don't you have a friend? Don't they have problems that you can solve with our product? And that idea was like, hey, that's so simple. But this is where things are scary, because when things seems to be too easy, too good, is usually not true.
Right.
And a lot of times, this is the crazy thing. I actually gotten the opportunity to actually be part of a MLM organization, to actually get to learn about it, I was sold by that methodology, because it's like, I have no knowledge in business, I have no knowledge and sets of skills that makes me even go into marketing and so on and so forth. So I felt that I was borrowing or leveraging on this big organization with this group of people with amazing products to move myself forward.
There is certain truth to that, because you are borrowing a system that people already set up. But the problem has never been the system itself. The problem is the fact that if you look at it, there's a conflicting factor here.
Yep.
As I said, they need the margin, the profit margin, to be able to pass down the commission. Otherwise, you cannot have a multi-level marketing, right?
Yep.
So to do that, the only way is to suppress your product's variable costs, which means lowering the quality of the product and increasing the price of the product. And that's why some people say some of these MLM products, they are too expensive. When you compare it with better supplements or better skincare out there that is better quality, you get it at a cheaper price, right? So I think this is something that a lot of people need to be a lot more aware of. But as a business model itself, here's the problem that I have, right? Not so much the network, but the fact that you don't have any USP, unique selling points, right? If you think about it, if you are in an MLM, I'm in the same MLM, we're competing against each other, we're trying to recruit the same amount of people, and when we're advertising online, we're competing with the ads as well. So if you're asking me that you're going to go into a market, a business where you cannot be unique, you cannot stand out, the only difference would be you. So that means you got to be a team leader, you got to be very inspiring, you got to be very good at controlling and managing your downlines, okay? And the problem that I get is people that join MLM and get into network marketing, these people that are just getting started, they have no leadership quality. They don't want to be managing their downlines, yet they want to make a lot of money. So it doesn't make sense. It's like you want to make money, but you're not going to work for it, right? And this is the problem. And that's why a lot of people come looking at, you know what, I want to bring my MLM business onto social media, which is possible. I talk about it a lot, but you got to have the money to spend, because it's not cheap for sure, right? In fact, one of the things that we recommend a lot of our students that are in MLM to do is to run a webinar, right? And obviously, to run a webinar, why do we have to do a webinar? Because we know online platforms like Facebook and Google, they frown upon MLM, right? Especially if you promote the brands. Even the brands themselves don't promote on these platforms, because even if they do, they promote charity, NGO, like just, I would say, altruistic manner of their side of their business, right? They would not promote that recruitment side, they would not promote the product side, because they couldn't. So they're getting their downline to spread the words. And if you're one of those downlines, if you're one of those members, you want to move online, you got to do two ways, right? One way is what I call a bridge funnel. The second way would be a webinar. So we'll talk about the webinar first.
Gotcha.
Now, with a webinar, I think it's very effective, because your job is to bring people onto a webinar, and then on the webinar, you explain to them why whatever MLM program you're in is better than anything out there, right? So you explain to them that part. I think there's nothing wrong with that part, right? And you got to answer their questions, and you'll be able to convert. But the problem is, right, many of these people that are in MLM, as I said again, they have no leadership quality. Hence, when they go on the webinar, they don't have that certainty for their own programs. They don't have that confidence that their programs can help people, because they don't create the program. Like, I teach people how to sell courses. I teach people how to sell digital products on the internet. So why do we teach people that instead of telling people to join some MLMs? The reason is very simple, because when you're involved in the product creation process, you put in your love, you put in your effort, your time in it, you will know what the product is. So when you sell the product, you have the confidence to push the product forward. But what if you don't know the product? What if you're not involved in the creation of the product, but merely just a distributor? You don't know much about the product. So when you're selling the product, when people ask you, what does this supplement do? What is the ingredient? You have no certainty. All you talk about is just outcome, and how rich you're gonna be when you join this, right? And that's where it leans towards the gray area, where it started sounding a lot more scammy and, not so nice. So this is why I tell people that if you want to get involved in a business, because you were talking about that earlier, people that join this are people that get involved in business, right? So what I would like people to do is try your first hand at a real business first before you join MLM. I think MLM is a good supplementary income, but it's not a main income.
I take it differently. I took it as like going to an MLM organization helped train me in some of those skills that gave me the confidence to go into business. Because context of like, how do you actually do sales? And how do you actually like be daring enough to look for prospects? All those things never existed in my vocabulary before even touching this organization. But then I also realized that you can actually get this kind of experience working for other people if you go towards different segments of the business, like in the sales and marketing division. The only thing that I realized that is much more powerful push will be in MLM companies, right? You are the salesperson that is not paid. Because in an organization, right, you still have an allowance to still take care of you, and then after that, it's like you're representing the company and stepping out. But in MLM, it's like you are free labor and you pay to have this establishment to be able to let you sell their products. Which in a way makes a person feel like, hey, I'm a business because I'm putting in my money, my effort, my time to make this happen. So I guess it can look from two different ways. If it's a person that has a team leader that can train you on leadership, go for it. If that is not the objective, maybe starting a legitimate business would be a more safer bet. It really depends on the person's situation and who they are as a person, I suppose. Because for me, MLM started for me because it was recommended by someone that I trust, someone that I look up to, and that connection gave me the confidence to really step in. If it's like a totally new thing, it's kind of like scary. So I can understand why someone that maybe it's from a 9-to-5 job and then stepping out of that comfort zone of 9-to-5 security and going into a business touching on MLM as one of the process as a good start. But this is the thing, MLM is not for everyone. It's not a bad thing, it's just that it's not for everyone. For some individuals, if their mindset is purely into I want to have something as a passive income thing, they will die in MLM. Why? Because if you're not hungry enough, right, you won't go out and expand your network to get that kind of conversion. Because a lot of times they were sold with the idea is like all you need is your uncle, your auntie, your friends and relatives.
But you only have so many uncle, aunties and family around, right?
And chances are your uncles and aunties are already involved before you. And then they'll be like, why don't you jump to my team? And if you only do the bare minimum, you won't be able to sustain yourself. That's the problem. Now, a lot of people have the expectation, I want to do bare minimum to get this income. That's the entry that they get. But then they start to realize, right, after a few months, maybe a few years, they realize that this is not a formula that works for me anymore. And that's where a lot of them are stuck. And that's the reason why I think it's so important, especially those of them that's watching this video right now, to really make a distinction. Do they want to stay in MLM to really make it work, or do they want to step out? Because either way, you need to kind of like take action accordingly. So if you want to move out, look into something that is more suitable for their needs and what is the sacrifice they're willing to put in to get the kind of results. But if they want to stay in MLM, which I know amazing people that are staying in MLM doing amazing job, and a few of them are your students in our private tribe, and they're doing amazing work with what they do. And the reason why they are able to do that and actually become wealthy with that is because they took additional steps that made them get to that level.
Here's the thing. The ones that are successful, if you see them, they're all leaders.
Yes.
They don't stop. They don't just retire on a beach and wait for downlines to keep getting more downlines.
Correct.
They're still recruiting.
They're super passionate about what they do.
Right. So you gotta have that part. And I think it applies to everything that you do in life. You either do it or you don't, right? So that's the problem, because there's so many people that join network marketing because they're halfway in. They're not going all in.
Got you.
So, and this applies to the topic of the podcast today. We're talking about how we are going to help them to leverage the internet, to leverage the social media to get more leads. And I'm going to tell you one thing. The easiest way is to do a webinar. But the problem is most people cannot do a webinar. Why? As I mentioned, they don't believe in their products. they don't have the certainty, and they have doubts. And they still carry the fear of success and fear of failure inside them, and they cannot move forward because of that. And every single time they want, let's say, I don't teach motivational stuff a lot, I don't teach mindset stuff a lot. And when one of these students will ask me, what do I do when I have this and have that with the webinar, I cannot perform, I say, what does your upline do? I mean, if you're an upline, if you're a team leader, you have a team, it's your job to coach your downline really, really well.
For sure.
I don't understand why downline have to come out and seek solution when they should have seek the advice of the upline. And all this, and every single time I talk to these downlines, they will just keep telling me, how successful their upline is. They drive that car, they go on this holiday all the time. I'm like, you're missing the point, right? You are being distracted from the point, the fact that, right, when he was an upline, probably team leader many years ago, the whole game was different. Back then, not many people were in network marketing.
That's right.
Now today, like literally every third person that I stumble upon, it's probably in some sort of network marketing scheme. Nothing wrong with that, as I say, but the game is different. Right now, people no longer join because of a particular product or brand. People join because of the character of the team. Do you have the character to make it work? Because if you cannot even do a webinar, ask yourself, do you really have the character to lead a team? Because what if your team falters? What if there's technology changes and your team doesn't know what to do anymore? Can you lead the team through the changes? Because whether you like it or not, we talk about MLM not being as real business as other type of business, but there's one factor that's really important is when you come to leadership. Leading your team is extremely crucial at times like this. What do you do? What do you advise them to do? Right? So I want to present a second funnel before we forgot to talk about it. Right? The second solution for most people when it comes to promoting network marketing is doing what we call bridge funnel. Essentially, you bring people, you don't sell the MLM because you cannot put the MLM name on anywhere on the page. But you bring them to a page where you tell your life story, where you talk about the successes that you have, kind of like a zero to hero situation, rags to riches. And by the way, people do ask me, what if I've not been to the other side of the rainbow yet? What if I'm not on the rich side? I'm still at the Rex. I'm like, bro, you cannot be doing this, man, because how are you gonna sell your stuff, right?
Correct.
If you're just getting started and you say that, I want to use social media and get 100 downlines a month, that's not possible. Like, we have to be realistic. You gotta have money, number one. You gotta have patience, and you gotta have leadership quality, right? So with that particular saying, you bring people to a first landing page, and on the landing page, you talk about yourself, right? Your successes, amazing things that you've accomplished, and then you tell people that, hey, you know what? I do all of this because I'm part of a program. If there's something that you're interested to hear more, click the button below, sign up. I'll send you the information to an email. I'll send you to another page. Usually we send them to a secondary page with another video. Now this secondary page, they will actually know more about the multi-level marketing schemes that we were promoting. Get the compensation plan, the products they sell, and if they're interested, they can book an appointment on like a calendar system like Calendly, and then the upline or the person that's doing this funnel will actually call the prospects and close them on the phone. Now that's the most effective way to do so, right? And here's the crazy thing, I'm surprised so many multi-level marketing companies, they still have not really prepare all of this for their members.
Actually, it's quite interesting because a lot of people, when they do this kind of presentation, because them presenting in front of a group of people is a standard thing. They actually do have this kind of like setups and trained by the company, but I find it weird because what they do in front of a crowd can also be duplicated in front of a camera. And I don't see why is it such.
But here's the problem. As I said, we're not talking about the good ones. We're talking about the people that somehow got into these programs, and then they since they invested, they have skin in the game. They don't want to let go. Listen, if you're in the MLM program or in network marketing program, if you're not 100% committed to it, like, we're not talking about money. We're talking about like your heart, your sincerity. If you're not 100% mentally committed to it, please don't continue on. Because we can hear the doubts in your voice. We can hear the doubts when you present on a webinar or in your video. And if you're not willing to even go out there and talk to people one-on-one, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, that means you don't believe in your product. That means you shouldn't be doing this.
I totally agree, because I do have a very few close personal friends that they're very passionate about the product, not the business, the product. And I have to admit, because of the efforts that they put into really study and research the products, right? They also took the time to understand my pains, and they gave me opportunities to actually get it resolved with their products. And I tell you, this is awesome. And they are not like regular individuals where you like the product, do the business. So in a way, they kind of like fine tune towards the needs of the customers and the clients rather than just pushing the opportunity.
Yes.
So, but coming back towards the strategies that we mentioned just now, that number one is the bridge funnel. The other one is like to do the webinars.
Yes.
All right. So let's say, for example, the bridge funnel. Okay, for the bridge funnel, right? Do you think it's a good idea after they finish the zero to hero story, the part where they talk about their journey and how people would like that, they can actually jump on to the next site. And in this site, right, do you think they should go into like the details of how the company structure all works, or do you think they should just give a little bit taste a bit about like what are the products, who are the target, and the details? Do they save it for later, or should they put it all on the site? Because that's the question that I get when people ask, is like, should I give all or should I not give all?
I don't think you should give all because it's too overwhelming. Like understanding how a multi-tier program works might be too complicated for someone that has never been in MLM.
Yeah, for sure.
So many times we tell them to just really focus on what is the outcome that the customer is going to get if they're part of your program, right? If they're part of your downline or your team or whatever that is. You really focus on pushing that. And the minute details can be covered later on the phone because we're telling people to bring people on the phone and talk to them in regards of this, right? The biggest mistake I see most people do is that they're using old techniques in modern era. They're still trying to give free gifts away, like, samples. My supplement pack is very good, try it out, right? My this is very good. And they always pass it around. Like, I'm very thankful because I get students that pass me all this kind of stuff for free, which is, but I think it's the weakest way to get people enrolled. Okay, here's the reason why. I don't think people enroll in an MLM or network marketing purely because of the product. And I think people always buy because of two things: character and outcome. Character of the recruiter, which is the leader or the person that's doing this right now, and the outcome that they get from joining this, which is money. Most of the time it's going to be money. Now, I know certain multi-level marketing, they're very important for health, they're good for health. We can talk about this all day long, but let's take that aside. Let's assume all MLM companies sell the same products. Okay, people are only going to join because of the character of the team leader and the outcome they get from joining the multi-level marketing. So those are the words, those are the copywriting that you need to include in your videos and your webinars, for sure.
So it's strategically putting things that are relevant to the potential target people that they're targeting. That is the content that they should focus on.
Of course, it's not about you. Remember this, it's about them. Right?
That's a very good point, because a lot of times business don't even talk MLM. Generally in business, they always talk. They think, and the solutions that they come up with is usually it's to fix their perspective rather than the customer's perspective. And I noticed that once they allow themselves to lower down their own ego and start to step into the shoes of their customers, everything changed. I mean, like the simple thing of just doing a survey or sitting down with a customer, whether it's happy or not happy customer, and getting to understand it from their perspective, it makes so much difference.
Absolutely.
And I think that I was able to be aware of this, was also thankful enough because when we were going through the program that you were teaching, business avatar, a customer's avatar, very, very powerful things. And I think you're actually exposing a lot of people on that particular topic when you're teaching them how to actually do ads, especially on social media and all that. Correct?
Yeah, because your identity is very important, especially when you are identifying yourself, when you present yourself. Who you are as a person is really, really important. And if you always believe that you're afraid of being too salesy, if you're afraid of pushing people to join something, then don't do that. Right? There's a lot of other ways out there that you can do to attract customers to come to you. But if you're not willing to go all in, I always believe that in a multi-level marketing business, you need to go all in. You need to go 100%. We're talking about committing your hours, every waking hours that you have, making your MLM business a lot better. Because it's not one of those things that you go in 20% and hope that the 80% automatically is created by a downline. It doesn't work like that. Because I'm sure you know this, right? Not all MLM, people that you recruited into your MLM, not all of them are gonna perform.
Correct.
Right? I wish that's the logical case, right?
Even though if you're the best leader, it doesn't mean it will work for everyone.
Because people are swayed by shiny object syndrome, right? Today they're this MLM, tomorrow they'll join another MLM. For sure, I think, as you mentioned earlier when we started this, you were talking about it giving people an intro to business. I have a little bit of agreement. I would agree to do it, but I would say that at the end of the day, it depends on who joins. And the person that joins need to think. That's the thing. Not just listen and not just consume, but really think, is this something that suits me, my personality, my behavior? Right? I always say that some people are meant to just stay behind computers and do data entry. because that's what makes them happy. You get what I'm saying?
It's not a bad thing. I mean, like there is a need for that kind of occupation. It's just that sometimes the community makes it feel like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But for some individuals, if they feel good about it and they can make a decent living out of it, why not?
Yeah. So with that case, as I said again, if you're running multi-level marketing campaigns on Facebook, you can't be calling out the names, you can't be putting out the names. You're going to be selling character. That's basically it, and the outcome, right?
Before we end, this is a very important question. I think if you were to answer this, right, it will really fix a lot of people's problems.
Okay.
How can someone in MLM market their stuff without being scammy?
Right. So how to market their stuff without being scammy. So first thing first is to actually put out as much content as possible first up front, okay? And make it very clear. Tell people that you're in MLM. Because I think the biggest problem is people will fool into believing that it's some real business and it turns out it's MLM. That's when it's really, really
They
bad.
feel a bit like, oh, you purposely did not tell me.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you're not proud that you're an MLM.
Yeah.
Yourself. So first thing first, mention that, hey, I am in this MLM and I'm very proud to be one, and here's the reason why. Put out content like this on your social media right away. The problem that I see with most people is that they try to hide it because they have this mentality of fear that what if they don't want to meet up with me? What if they don't want to talk to me?
Yep.
Right? If they don't want to, chances are they're not interested in the first place. So why bother wasting your time talking to them? You want to talk to the most qualified leads only. Right? That's what we're talking about. So on social media, I'll make it very clear that I'm a part of this MLM and this is what I do, right? And I make it super clear and I want to be proud of it. And if you are hiding, you're telling people that, oh, I have a great business opportunity for you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's very good. It's the next new thing from America, next new thing from Australia, Germany, whatever it is. Oh, it's going to be amazing, right? You're talking lots of things, but you don't have a lot of message in the things that you talk about. So people get a lot more suspicious. They come into the meeting with a lot more suspicions, and that's when they call you fraudulent or scammer, right?
Good. I think that helps answers a lot of questions.
Yep.
That's
So if you guys are enjoying podcasts like this, do me a big favor. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends, and we're going to be churning out more content like this for you. Okay? We'll see you in the next episode.